Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and spirit directly through channeling about what part of your body needs healing right now and how to heal it. And I have 7 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, this will be group number 5, and this will be group number 6, and this will be group number 7. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can just pause the video. But if you don't need any more time, then just head down to the description box below and find the timestamp for your particular group and click on that, and your reading should appear in front of you. And while you're down there in the description box below, make sure to check out my guide on how to buy a personal reading from me. I always love doing personal readings for you guys. It's always a pleasure, so check that out. But let's focus on this reading right now. So pick your group and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose this Jolanda Tarot deck, and I'm gonna start with some channeling and then I'm gonna shuffle these cards for you. So I'm gonna do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 1? The people who will choose group number 1, what part of their body needs healing? What part of group number 1's body needs healing right now? So I'm sensing it's your legs. I'm sensing that your legs might need healing, or I don't know if you've overexhausted your legs, or maybe you're overworking your legs, maybe at the gym or something like that. Or maybe you have a very physical job where you're constantly on your feet. And of course, if it's your job, it might be hard to relieve that pain because maybe you need to be on your feet in order to do your job. And so maybe there's not a lot to do about that, but of course you could get maybe better footwear and maybe invest in some really good shoes with that might be from a company that make ergonomic footwear that is meant for your profession or people in similar professions, like work shoes. You could maybe also just get some shoes from like that are mostly used for people in physical profession, other physical professions, but it's like if you're in the field of nursing, then you might find very good shoes in for people in the field of carpenting, and for like that sort of that they might have better shoes than the shoes that are made for nurses, then or something, I don't know, but maybe get better footwear. Maybe also if you have if you have some like if there's something that something abnormal about your feet, like when people have the feet that go like this, I don't know what it's called in English, but yeah, or then there might be shoes out there for you that are made specifically for you, and and so you could maybe look into it, do some research, and see if you can find some shoes that maybe have a better grasp on your feet and it doesn't make your feet hurt. And you could maybe also like take contact to one of those old school shoemakers and ask a shoemaker to create a shoe that is tailored for your feet. That could be an investment that would be like worth it, especially if you have a lot of pain in your feet. But yeah, but I'm also sensing that you could have problems with your knees as well, and maybe swelling of the knees, like that you have, like that you're, and that could be because you overwork your knees, or that they get overly exhausted to the point where they swell up. And of course, one of the ways to relieve that would be to not over exercise your legs. But if you can't do that because your job is physical and it's hard not to over exercise your legs at your job, then maybe try cold, like frozen bags, and put it under your knee, and sit with it, or lie down with a frozen bag under your knee, maybe to relieve the swelling. And also, like, even if it's very hard to not over exercise your legs because your job is physical, or maybe for some of you your job is physical and so you can't do anything about that, but maybe you can do something about what you do after work. Like, maybe try to make sure that you rest your legs and your knees and your feet when you're home. Don't go for long walks when you get home. Don't go for runs. Like, maybe let the exercise that you get on your job be enough. That's more than enough for exercise for a day. So maybe there's no need for any extra exercise. And if you can't actually rest, if you can't rest your legs after work because maybe you have to walk around, like maybe you have to walk home from work, or ride your bike home from work or something, so you have to do that extra exercise, maybe then try, if that's the case, then maybe try to see if there's alternatives, like if there's anything else you can do instead of walking or riding your bike. Like, if there's something that would relieve your legs, like maybe it would be good to invest in an electronic scooter, even though I know people look silly on them and all of that, and it's hard to take that step and actually buy one of those and actually use it. I kind of get it, but it might be worth it in the long run to maybe get one of those, just because it would relieve your legs. But yeah, but so with the King of Swords, with the lightning here, it kind of makes me think that maybe some of you would also benefit from getting more electrolytes, like drinking water with electrolyte tabs in it. Maybe you are a bit dehydrated, or maybe you have a hard time getting hydrated, and maybe you also have some swelling, also like where it's maybe due to water being stored in the body, where it or so, I don't know. I don't know how that works really, but I feel like maybe you could somehow relieve some of the swelling by taking electrolyte supplements, or like some of those tabs that you can put into water and drink it. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's science. Yeah, but with the Five of Pentacles, I feel like there I don't know if you have a job that's very outdoorsy, or where you have to be outdoors for long periods of time. But if you do, then maybe it, I don't know. I don't really know that. I don't think it's actually that, because now that I look at this card, it's a rat and it's eating coins, and so I think maybe you would benefit from iron supplements. Maybe you don't have enough iron in your body. Could be iron or magnesium. But iron was my first thought, so maybe take supplements with iron. Maybe also magnesium. It could also be good with vitamin K supplements. But I'm gonna shuffle some more cards about what you can do to heal your body and your legs. With the Knight of Swords reversed, this card, when it's upright, it's someone who is being carried by these angels. They are carrying this wagon, and it's reversed, and so maybe doing less of the lifting, like if you can get away with it, like maybe at work, if there's a lot of heavy lifting, then maybe don't be the first one to say like, oh, you're just gonna do it. Like don't like if you're very quick to bid in and tell people that you want to do those tasks and those assignments that are maybe more physical, and maybe it's because you're more afraid of some other tasks. Like maybe at work you can choose between certain tasks that you can do, and maybe some of the tasks are physical and has to do with heavy lifting and doing physical work, and maybe some of the other tasks are maybe some, or they might have more to do with cooking or doing something like that, cooking or cleaning or doing some of that work. I don't know. I take what resonates, but if that's the case, and you then maybe just bite in the sour apple and take one of those tasks that you actually don't find that fun to do. But maybe it's just better to take on those tasks because it might be better for your body in the long run, instead of always taking the heavy tasks, even though they might be a bit more fun to do, or maybe a bit less intimidating, because it's maybe like there's maybe less that can go wrong when you're doing something that's like very physical, like moving things from one place to the other is maybe less intimidating than cooking a meal for a bunch of people who are gonna judge the meal and be all like critical about it. Then maybe it's easier to take the physical task, but maybe even though of course cooking is also physical. So but I'm just sensing that there might be some different tasks at your workplace for some of you, and maybe choose those that require less physical activity so that you can rest more and have less restraint, or like less, I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle a bit more about how you can heal your body. With the Ace of Pentacles reversed, I feel like maybe some of you are working more hours than you should. Like and maybe you're doing that because you're saving up money, or maybe you're just taking on the like the shifts that other people like want to like maybe you're just being a bit of a martyr and just taking on shifts that other people didn't want, and maybe you're being too nice and being kind of the savior, and maybe it's something you enjoy doing, and maybe you also see that there's financial gain from it. So, but maybe put up some boundaries. Don't take on too much work. Leave some of the shifts for other people to take. Like don't be the nice one that's always available. Like you can put up boundaries, and I feel like also there's more to life than money. So I feel like it maybe don't overwork yourself at work, at your job, and also maybe try to get your hours down to maybe a bit more of like something like, try maybe to not have too many hours at work that you're working. Like, so but I think that's all I have for you, group number 1. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose the Hermetic Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So, Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2? What part of their body needs healing right now? Okay, so I'm sensing it's your throat. So maybe some of you have some inflammation in your throat, or maybe you use your throat a lot, or maybe you use your voice a lot when maybe you have a job where you need to use your voice, and maybe that is why your throat is a bit overworked, over-exercised. And it could be helpful for you to maybe rest your throat by maybe not using your voice in some hours of the day. Like maybe try to relieve your throat from being used in a straining way. And also drinking something warm could definitely relieve some of the pain, and taking honey, supplementing with honey, or like eating honey directly from the jar, or putting honey in your tea. Could help with the inflammation. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say. Okay, so with the Hermit here, the Hermit is about solitude. So maybe the way to heal your throat is to take some time alone, where you're not speaking to anyone. But this card also says Magoo of the voice of light. And with the voice of light, the voice of light, maybe try speaking more lightly, maybe when you talk, you don't always have to speak very loudly when you talk. It would maybe be okay to sometimes speak more softly. Maybe you have a job where you're afraid that people can't hear you, like if you're speaking publicly, or if you're a teacher or something like that, then maybe you have gotten some criticism that you don't speak loud enough, and so maybe you restrain your voice because you keep pushing it further and further because you want to reach the audience, you want to reach your students, and you don't want that criticism again. And maybe there's another way. Like you don't have to have a strong voice to be a teacher. Like you don't have to have a big voice, because there are always tools you can use to relieve your voice. Like you could get a microphone. Like if you're a teacher, then I'm certain that if you talk to your boss and told your boss that your voice is very strained, and it would be very good for your voice if you could wear a microphone in class, then I think your boss would probably be open to change that for you, so that you can reach your students and also relieve your throat and your voice. So it could also maybe be good to get some kind of diagnosis from your doctor, or getting it from an ear, nose, throat doctor, like someone, a specialist in ear, nose, and throat, and get a specialist to maybe look at your throat. Maybe you have some dysphonia that makes it hard for you to speak and use your voice and get volume on your voice, and as soon as if you got that diagnosis, if you got diagnosed with dysphonia, then that would make it more of a tangible issue where you could actually go to your boss and say you have this disability and that you want that to be accommodated by them, giving you some tools so that you can still teach, and you could then just do it with a microphone on. I think it wouldn't be that big of an issue actually, but then again, I think it really depends on the institution, on who's in charge, and how far they are with tech development. Like I think most places most schools would probably accommodate that need, especially if you had had some proof that this is actually a disability that needs to be understood by the institution, by the so because I don't think they would I don't think they could discriminate against a disability like that. But then again, I don't know. But I think that it's maybe worth it to look into it and see if there's actually something that you could get, or like some if there is a tool that you could use that could maybe make it easier for you to teach, and where you wouldn't have to always think about how loud you're talking, like that must also make it really hard for you to talk freely when you're constantly considering the volume, and so but I feel like if you got some kind of microphone or something that would make it easier for people to hear you in your class or whatever, then I think you would be able to speak more softly, speak more in your normal voice where you're not restraining it or straining it, like where you're not putting strain on it, and then you could speak with the voice of light, a light voice, a soft voice. So but I'm gonna shuffle some more cards about how to heal this, how to heal your throat. With the 10 of Wands, it came out reversed, and I feel like maybe you're also overworking yourself, and maybe in many ways, like maybe not only in your throat, like maybe you're also exhausted, just period. Like maybe you are doing too much right now, and maybe it's also like maybe your voice and your throat is also reacting to the stress that you're under, that maybe you have put on too much work, and maybe it would be okay to tone it down a bit, or like focus your energy so that you're not, so that your energy doesn't, like I feel like maybe some of you are about to burn out, or like you're kind of on that path towards burnout syndrome, like that you're burning the candle in both ends, and it's just a matter of time before you get so exhausted that you can't go on like this, that you might be telling yourself that it's okay, like you're not, that it's not really affecting you, but maybe it is affecting your body. Maybe your mind is keeping up, but maybe your body is about to like say no, and maybe it starts with your voice, starts with your throat. Maybe that is the first thing that's being over stressed right now, but it might move on to other parts of your body, and I am sensing that maybe it could end up like also maybe impairing your vision, and maybe you are, I feel like a lot of you are very stressed out, and so maybe try to get your energy, like get your stress levels down. Try to meditate. I know that meditating is maybe not an option for you right now, because that would just put even more stress into your life, because you would be like the time that you would waste on meditating would just make you have to work double as hard after you've meditated, and then the meditation is completely useless. And I get that, but maybe try to prioritize your time so that you also have me time, have some time where you're just focusing on yourself. Like maybe you're a bit of a, like maybe you're too selfless of a person, and maybe sometimes it's okay to be a bit selfish, and sometimes it's okay to want to do something just on your own. Like if you have a family that you're very close to and very engaged in, and if you have a family on your of your own, like if you have children, then of course it seems very selfish to want to have some time away from your children just to focus on yourself. But maybe you need that in order to be a better parent. Like sometimes we need to have some kind of solitude that can give us some sense of who we are, where we are going, and what's actually happening in our body, because that you might have forgotten to listen to your body along the way because you're too focused on being there for everyone else. And it's like, yeah, sometimes the adrenaline of the stress can make us do magnificent things, because it's like it's otherworldly sometimes, where how far we can actually push ourselves when we are under the stress, especially the stress of wanting to be there for everyone else. Then it's so easy to sometimes just push ourselves out and then just focus on other people, but it's like in the long run it's not healthy. You need to also plan something on your own, something that you can do on your own, where you can get some time to really clear your mind and get your thoughts together and figure out what you want and what's most important to you. And yeah. But I'm going to shuffle some more cards. About what you can do to heal yourself. Okay, so with the Three of Swords reversed, well, I feel like maybe you have found some stability within the chaos. Like the chaos that's going on around you might feel very comfortable for you. It might make you feel at home. I don't know if you come from a slightly broken home or a very chaotic upbringing where maybe you never really knew what was going to happen the next day, or what was going to happen that day, or that maybe life was very unpredictable when you grew up, and maybe you grew up a bit rootless, without roots, where maybe your parents moved around a lot, or something, and so maybe you have grown to enjoy the chaos, or feel like the chaos is the most comfortable status quo. Like it might be where you feel the most in alignment with your true self, like, because maybe it's grown to become your identity in some sense, where whenever you are not inside the chaos, you might feel a bit distanced from your identity, and maybe you feel like you don't really know who you are when you're not within the chaos. I don't know, but maybe you need to change this so that you don't end up burning yourself out just because you've grown up in chaos. Like I think maybe it's also just a big step to just acknowledge that this is your problem, that your problem is how good you feel when you're in a high stress situation, and maybe try to find a way to get that euphoria from something, from being in a meditative state, or like finding the peace to be somehow euphoric as well, because I don't know what, but there might be like I feel like for some of you, when you're very stressed out, I think you feel like a superhero. You feel like you feel amazing about yourself, because you feel like you're doing something, that you're working more than other people, and you're taking care of everything, and you're able to get much more done than everybody else, or like, and maybe you feel like a bit of, like superhuman, and maybe you get a bit of a high from feeling like you're really performing under a lot of pressure. And maybe you need to find another way to get that validation, where you can be proud of yourself when you're relaxed, and when you're sleeping, and when you're like when you sleep 9 hours a day. Like, I know that sounds maybe like a lot to you, because you might only be getting like 6 hours every day, and or maybe less, but it's like, if you could be proud of yourself when you're actually accommodating your body's needs, and listening to your body, and taking the rest that your body needs, and like, if you can be as proud of yourself in a healthy state of, like, in where your body is in a healthy state, and where you're taking care of yourself, and you're getting enough sleep, and you're drinking enough water, and you're doing all the things that are good for you. If you could be proud of yourself in that state, instead of being proud of yourself when you're extremely high on caffeine and just bulldozing through life and working 10 hours a day, and doing massive work that other people would get extremely stressed out over, and you're also stressed out, but you're maybe not realizing how stressed out you are because you're proud of that. Maybe you've also had some kind of maybe you have a positive association to high stress situations because maybe your parents glorified being in a high stress, living with a lot of stress. That maybe it's something that you associate with something positive, like something we are supposed to do, like that it's what's supposed to, how we're supposed to live. But I feel like you should maybe try to be proud of yourself when you're doing something good for yourself that feels good, feels nice, like on your body, like that you're doing something nice for your body. And yeah. With a Wheel of Fortune reversed, I feel like maybe I feel like maybe there is something that you do where you're maybe putting, like, I feel like there is like this whole like there's some game going on in your life, and it's like all these components in this, like it's all working out, but there's like this one snake in paradise that's kind of making it all just, yeah, jeopardizing it all. Like there's something, I feel like maybe in your life you have a lot of different things going on. You might have your job, and maybe you have two jobs, I don't know. Maybe you have school, maybe you are taking some courses online, maybe you have a legal case, maybe a family member has a legal case that you're also helping that family member with. Maybe your family member is going through a divorce right now and you're trying to be there for that person. Maybe you have like all these things going on, and maybe you also have some passion projects going on at the side, on the side of all of this. And maybe there is like this one drop in the water that makes the glass flow over, and maybe you need to get rid of that drop in the water. Like maybe there is one thing that is creating too much chaos. Like maybe you need to simplify your life, maybe you need to prioritize your time, and just like if there is something that can be taken out of the equation, then maybe do it. Like if you're doing some online courses and it's really taking a lot of your time, and you're also balancing two jobs or something, and then maybe take the online courses out of that equation and tell yourself like you're going to do it next year instead, because maybe it's something that can be postponed, and maybe it's not necessarily something you need to be doing right now. So maybe try to measure, calculate your life and figure out what thing can be taken out right now, so that you can have enough time for the things that are most important in your life. So with the sun reversed, I feel like maybe you're not getting enough sun, and I think it would be a good idea to get more sun, get out more, not sit at your desk all day. Maybe try to mix things up and go outside. Also, if you have a teaching job, maybe there is some wiggle room that you have for actually taking the students outside instead of being inside the classroom. I don't know if that's possible for you, but maybe that is possible for some of you. But I just feel like maybe try to be creative with it and try to find opportunities to get outside. And if it's winter right now, like, then it's even more important to get that, because then the sunlight might be very sparse. So if it's winter right now when you're watching this, make sure to get that small amount of sunlight there is. Like, so yeah. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 1. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And yeah, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose this Dame Fortune's tarot wheel, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. Group number 3. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 3, the people who will choose group number 3? What part of their body needs healing right now? Okay, so I'm sensing that a lot of you are suffering from headaches. So I'm sensing that it's the head that needs healing. That it might also be the neck, some neck stiffness and some migraines, and I'm also sensing that maybe some of you have low dopamine, which somehow seems to be related to the migraines, or that you might be suffering from migraines because you have low dopamine levels, and I think maybe some of you could benefit from doing more things that could increase your dopamine, which could be something like listening to music, doing things that you like to do, but also things like sex and masturbating, and there are a lot of other things too, also more boring things like eating more protein or exercising or something like that. But I feel like it's more like I'm sensing something about, like, while I was channeling, I was hearing something about a decrease in pleasure, that you're not getting enough pleasure, and that the pleasure could be making your dopamine levels become low, which makes you get migraines or something. I don't know, but maybe doing something that gives you pleasure, something like listening to music, masturbating, but maybe also like eating food that you like, or doing activities that you like doing, like watching your favorite television show, or like maybe lately you've been doing things for everybody else, like things that other people want you to do, and maybe you have kind of forgotten to do the things that you want to do. And so maybe this is kind of a suggestion that maybe you need to be a bit more selfish and do things that might seem a bit egotistical, or maybe it seems that way to you because you have been depriving yourself from pleasure for so long that maybe you've always been putting yourself in the lowest priority and prioritizing everybody else over you. And maybe it's your time to do something egotistical for once, something that you just want to do just because it's something you like, and not just watching the television show that your boyfriend wants to watch, or the movie that your family chooses, or something like that. That maybe watch the things that you want to watch for once, or do just activities that make you happy. Because I feel like if you do more things that make you happy, then maybe that could decrease your migraines and make your migraines less frequent. I don't know if it's like science or anything, but maybe think about it. And maybe also I'm sensing that maybe some of you are a bit I hate using that word, but like maybe sexually anorexic, or that maybe you're it's a bit of an icky word. I don't really like using it because but I kind of I'm sensing that maybe some of you have kind of closed off sexually, that maybe you're not, or maybe you're not closed off, but maybe you're not seeking pleasure. Like maybe if you have a partner, maybe you're not making it the first priority that you have to have an orgasm. That maybe you're like just telling your partner that it's okay if you don't get one. And maybe it's one of those unicorns that you've been chasing but haven't really gotten or achieved that for many reasons. Many women don't get an orgasm. So if you're a woman, then of course, yes, there is that factor that maybe it's really hard to get an orgasm. So for you, so we're all different. So, but maybe you should ask yourself whether you just say that to your partner because you don't want to be a burden. Maybe you just don't want to burden your partner with having to chase this unicorn. And maybe you should ask your partner to do more effort in order for you to get that orgasm, or get an orgasm yourself through masturbating, if that works better for you, then do that. And because I feel like maybe sex or masturbating could be the easiest way to increase your dopamine levels and fix the problem. I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say. sorry if I'm constantly looking that way. It's because there's a spider on the wall, and the spider has been here for like 2 weeks. I think it's the same spider. Maybe it's my my familiar. I don't know what it's doing there, but I'm kind of watching it just so that it doesn't fall down in my head or something while I'm reading. So just if you're thinking about what the hell am I focusing on, and that is it. So yeah. So with the 7 of coins reversed, with the card here, like you can use, you can look at the card and see that there's a trade going on, or yeah, something for where and maybe, and this came out reversed, and so maybe like this is give and take. This is like, yeah, giving something and getting something in return. And since it's reversed, maybe you're giving too much and not getting enough in return, and maybe it's taking a toll on your head and neck. Like you're maybe getting neck stiffness because you're like I think so if you have low dopamine, it can cause neck stiffness. I'm not really sure about that, but maybe maybe you're giving too much of yourself. Maybe spare something for yourself, like not just giving all your energy to everybody else, and saving it so that you can also have the pleasure of doing some of the things that you do for other people for yourself. Like, yeah, like if you do something nice for somebody else, like then maybe do the same thing for yourself once in a while. Like, and maybe ask your, like if you have a problem with your partner or with your family, that maybe you're contributing too much and not really getting enough in return. Like maybe it is kind of a conversation that you need to have with them. Talk to them about it, or talk to him or her, or like the person that might be taking too much of your energy, and talk to that person and tell that person that you need space, that you need time for yourself too. And yeah, I also feel like maybe maybe it's kind of like, maybe some of the things that you do go unnoticed, or like maybe you don't get a lot of gratefulness from other people when you do something for them, and maybe I don't know if you should ask people for more validation, or some, but I feel like maybe it wouldn't be that awkward to ask some of the people that you help throughout the day to maybe, like it's a bit awkward to have to ask, but I feel like it might be also like, maybe if you were getting the validation from the people that you help throughout the day, or throughout the week or whatever, like then I think that could maybe increase your dopamine levels, where maybe now you feel like you're just pouring all your energy into this hole that just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and you never really see any of your effort actually blossoming into anything, because people just take and take and take and never actually give you any result or anything that you can where it's like, maybe you just feel like it doesn't, like your efforts don't seem to make a difference, or the difference that it makes never really gets the validation that or I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this actually, but I think it is draining your energy, that you're stuck in a job where you're helping people and you feel like you never actually get a pat on the back. You never get any sort of positive feedback. It's always just nag. Whenever you get some kind of feedback, it's always just people are just asking you to change this or change that. They're never they're never actually validating your work or actually giving you any compliments. And I think that's like or maybe they are giving you compliments, but they are giving you compliments for the wrong things. And so maybe the things that you actually want to be complimented for, they go unnoticed, but the things that you kind of don't want to be complimented for, those things get complimented or something like that. And so it seems like it might be the wrong thing, and maybe people compliment you on your looks instead of complimenting you on the work that you have really put a lot of effort into. And that might make you just feel objectified and make you feel like, what's the point really, when that's all people get out of what you're doing, like, and might make you feel like they are reducing or minimizing the work into something like something vain. And I don't know. Sorry if my voice is weird. It's because I'm sick. So, but yeah. So with the Six of Wands reversed, I feel like maybe you, like, I feel like the job that you're doing, like, you're not really getting the recognition that you really deserve. And I feel like maybe also in your family, like there might also be someone in your family that keeps being like disappointed, even though you're doing great, but it's like it's never good enough or something. And I think, and if that doesn't resonate with you, it's probably work related, and maybe you feel like you're not getting recognition from your work, and maybe it's actually making you stressed out and making you feel like you're never really happy, like happy, because you go to work and you do a lot of effort and you don't get recognition for it, and then you go home, and then maybe at home you have to watch a TV show that your family or your partner chooses for you, and you're not actually that into it, but you are going to watch it anyways because you want to be a good sport. And then you listen to some music that somebody else chose for you. Maybe your neighbors chose it for you because they play really loud music, and it just makes you more insane because it's like, and I kind of get that, like, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up the next morning, and it's the same cycle. And if you don't do anything throughout the day that makes you truly happy, you're gonna get more migraines. You're gonna get more, feel more like your head is really heavy, and everything's just like pulsing and like and I think the only way to relieve that is to let some happiness into your life, even though some people might consider that to be egotistical, which I think is like super lame if people feel that way, because of course you need to do something for yourself sometimes. It's the only way. So yeah, choose to do something like just it could be as simple as watching an episode of a TV show that you really like. And if your partner doesn't like it, or if your family doesn't like it, then tell your family or your partner that you're going to watch it in the other room and they just have to deal with it. And if you have small children and you're a single mom, then ask someone to take care of the children while you have an hour of time for yourself. I know that maybe those resources are not available for everyone, but find a way to just get some kind of relief, make some kind of arrangement so that you can do something that makes you happy, or just masturbate while you're falling asleep, and then you could do that too. Like, I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle these cards and see also what you need to do to heal, even though that has also come up. But maybe something more doable. Something. What should group number 3 do in order to heal? Heal their migraines, heal their head, neck. Okay. With the Knight of Batons, Knight of Wands, reversed. If your partner is a fire sign, maybe rethink the relationship. Maybe think about it, whether it's something you want to be stuck in, or if you should maybe find something else. Because if that's the case, then maybe it's not a great relationship that you're in. But if you're not in a relationship with a fire sign, then maybe there's just someone who is a fire sign who is really taking a lot of your energy, and maybe it's a good idea to set some boundaries to make sure that that person doesn't take all of your energy, that the person actually leaves some of the energy for yourself, so that you can enjoy some of that energy and pour it into something that you love, something that's a passion of yours, something that you enjoy doing. Pour that energy into that instead. With the Death card here, this is about transformation, and so I think there needs to be a transformation in your life. Something needs to go in order to make something new blossom and become it feels like a bad thing needs to end in order for a good thing to start. And maybe it is your relationship that needs to end in order for something new and good to come into your life. But it could also have to do with work. Like, if you have a job that where you never get recognition, then maybe consider finding another job that gives you more recognition, where you actually feel like your work actually means something to the people that you work for, instead of just having these bosses that don't care about you, that always just tells you what's wrong with what you're doing instead of telling you what's right about it. And I think you could easily find that. I think some of you might be working in a very toxic work environment where it would wear anyone out. Like it's not just you. And I feel like you're also not the only one at your workplace who feel this way. So I feel like maybe consider changing your work situation if you're in a bad one. Or maybe find a way to improve the work situation by actually going to your boss and asking for the recognition that you have been missing. And if it goes well, then that's good. But if it doesn't go well, then you can just leave. You won't lose anything from doing that. So, yeah. But I feel like there's also maybe too much stress in your life. So if you have a lot of things going on, maybe consider prioritizing your time so that the things that are most important get the most time, and then like the things that aren't that important can maybe be erased from your life, or you can do that work sloppy. Like if there's something that you need to do, like if you have a job and you kind of like if there's maybe if you have two jobs and like the one job is like the important one, and then you have a side job or that like then like maybe do the side job sloppily, like very sloppy, because it doesn't have to be perfect, because maybe it's something that isn't really that important, and then focus on the job that you actually see a future in, and remember that it's okay to do things badly. Like sometimes that's necessary in order to get everything done. Like and also like getting like you have to prioritize your time, and you have to prioritize like at least 1 hour a day for yourself, because that will really relieve your migraines and all of that. So if you don't have an hour in your day that you can use on yourself, then find a way to get that hour. If that means you need to do something in a sloppy way and maybe do something half done, or leave something half done, then that's just how it is. Like it can't be different. So people just have to deal with that. Like yeah, I guess that's my overall message, is just to focus a bit more on yourself, do something that makes you happy, and prioritize yourself, because you're gonna burn the candle in both ends if you just keep like bulldozing through life and not taking any time for doing something that just makes you happy. because it's important. It's important for your health. So, and it's also what life is about. Life is about being happy sometimes. Like going through life in like this dark haze, like that's not a life to live. Like I don't know, but I think that's all I have for you. Group number 3, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 4, you chose this Tarot de Marseille tarot deck, and I'm gonna start with some channeling, and then I'm gonna shuffle these cards for you. So I'm gonna do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4? What part of their body needs healing right now? What part of group number 4's body needs healing? So I'm sensing it could be your stomach area. I don't know if you have irritable bowel syndrome. I feel like some of you have. Maybe even the majority of you have been diagnosed with that. And I think you also have it. Most of you have it. But I'm sensing it could also be something else, like something else that has to do with the abdomen or the pelvic floor. I don't know if some of you have a pelvic tilt, a tilted pelvic or something like that. And that could also cause some of your stomach cramps and stuff like that. And it could have some correlation, like there could be it could have something, there could be a link between those two things. Like for some of you, I don't know if this resonates with all of you, but I feel like maybe some of you have IBS because you have a pelvic tilt, a tilted pelvic, that it's or something like that, that it's causing the bowels to spasm or something, because it's tilted, and it creates an abnormal movement in the bowels or something. I don't really know. I don't know if this even makes sense, but I feel like some of you might also have a problem with bloating, and if you have a pelvic tilt, then that makes sense, because maybe you feel like because when you have a pelvic tilt, like a tilted pelvic, or I don't really know which one is the correct one. I think it's pelvic tilt, but I think it makes more sense to call it tilted pelvic because it's tilted. But I think it's a pelvic tilt. But yeah, if you have that, maybe you don't know if you have that, but if you have it, then of course the pelvic is tilted, and that will make your stomach protrude more, because it creates like it creates the the tilt makes the belly appear like it's more protruding than it does when people don't have a pelvic tilt. So it makes sense. But and so if you are then bloated just a little bit, then it will appear like you're much more bloated than it would appear on someone who doesn't have a pelvic tilt. So it seems like a bigger problem for someone with a pelvic tilt, and it's something that you get even more subconscious about, or like it gets in, like you of course have, as like if you have a pelvic tilt, it would be very normal to have some kind of complex with that, like that kind so. And I hate to say this, but like maybe you're not actually more bloated than everybody else. It just appears like you're more bloated because of the pelvic tilting that way and making it appear like you're more bloated than everybody else, like that sort of thing. And of course that I'm talking about something that I don't really know a lot about, so please bear with me if I don't really know the scientific details about this. But yeah. But I feel like there might also be some other symptoms that you have due to the pelvic tilt, if you have a pelvic tilt. But if you don't, then I just feel like your main area that you need to heal is your stomach area, your abdomen area, like your stomach, bowels, pelvic, yeah. And I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say. I felt like this card kind of made me think about bloating, because she's like, it's kind of an optical illusion, but it kind of looks like she's like holding her belly and kind of cramping up, and so I kind of felt like it was just confirmation about what I just said. But but maybe you can see something different from this card. If you can, then feel free to, like if you interpret it differently, then feel free. It's Queen of Swords anyways. So I'm gonna shuffle some more cards about what part of your body needs healing, and 7 of coins. So you might also have a problem with constipation, and yeah. I'm gonna, and maybe also build up of something that doesn't necessarily have to be within the stomach area, but any type of build up in other areas of the body. It could be the ears, like maybe you have a build up of earwax or some, and then maybe you need to maybe it would be good to get an appointment with a nurse or someone who could maybe clear that up. If you have like a blockage that you can't get rid of on your own, then maybe ask a professional to clear that out. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, I have earwax build up. It's very genetic. Some people have no earwax at all. Some people are born with extreme amounts of earwax, and it's just how it is. Like, that's just genetics. Some people are very lucky. Some people are unlucky. Don't feel like it's something to be ashamed of. We're just all different. We have different sets of cards that we have been dealt, and that's just how it is. So but I'm gonna shuffle some cards to find out how you can heal these problems that I have mentioned, if you have those problems, or else, like, what else it could. Okay, so with the Death card reversed, I feel like I'm getting a few things from this card. For some of you, I feel like maybe you have a restrictive diet, or maybe you're trying to do something like intermittent fasting or something like that. If you're trying something like that, maybe it is causing you to have more constipation, because of course if you eat less, then you will have less frequent bowel movements. I would think that kind of makes sense. Like, if you eat very little every day, then it kind of builds up to like, like, so maybe if you are on a restrictive diet, then maybe consider not being on one. And maybe if you have been told that it would be a good idea to be on a fasting diet or something like that, because it would help you with your irritable bowel syndrome or something like that, then I think that was very bad advice if you had someone advise you to do that, because I think it's actually having the opposite effect and actually just clogging you up and making the system even more messed up. And so maybe don't do that. Maybe don't restrict your diet. Maybe eat a healthy amount, like maybe you did before you started restricting your diet, and just maybe eat more healthy food, but eat the same amount of food. Like, don't restrict it to nothing. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's not going to help anything. It's just going to make it more passive, like make your bowels more passive, and the passivity is just like that might help with the spasm, but it wouldn't, like because even though activity might create the I don't know, like again, I'm not a doctor. I don't really understand everything about this, so I don't know, but I would, like, I'm sensing, like, spiritually, the spiritual message I'm getting is that restriction is not helping your bowels and your stomach. It's not making it better. It's making it worse. So yeah. There might also have been something that you have tried to do recently, like some kind of transformation that you have recently started. Like maybe you have decided to become a vegan, or decided to change your diet completely, and like that's okay. Like it's okay to change things up, but maybe consider changing it back if you're constantly in pain, or if you're experiencing some bad movements in your stomach. Like if you're not reacting very well to it, then maybe put that on pause, or maybe try to ease into it without maybe overdoing it all at once. Like dosing it, like getting into it, like it's like what, little by little. Like I don't know, like maybe become a pescatarian, or maybe do something that isn't as that doesn't make it so drastic. But of course, it's your choice. If you want to be vegan, then be vegan. Like I'm just suggesting that maybe it could have an effect on your on your stomach, if you're experiencing stomach problems right now. It could be a contributing factor. It might not be the whole reason. It could just be like one of many reasons, and just taking one thing out, like it might not cure you, but it might help it become less problematic. And I have also heard about stories about like people who went vegan and then stopped bloating and stopped having stomach problems after going vegan, and those stories exist as well, and I know that. So it's not. I get why you would want to go vegan, and I'm not sure that it's a bad decision in the long run, but maybe right now it's maybe not helping you because it's too drastic of a change. If it's something you have done recently. So with the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like something that could help heal you is maybe also well, I think you should eat more vegetables. Like it's usually a woman, like in the Rider-Waite tarot deck, this card is a card of a woman who is in a garden, and there's like a lot of trees and growth in the card. And I'm not saying anything about growth. Like I know it's a health reading, so there are some buzzwords that you should kind of avoid. And I mean growth, like in plants and stuff. But maybe it would still be a good idea to add more vegetables to your diet. Maybe just not so drastic that you take everything out and only eat vegetables. I think too much of a good thing is going to turn into a bad thing. So maybe try to balance it, and yeah, it also makes me think that maybe it would be good for you to maybe ease things down a bit, eliminate as much stress out of your life as possible, and eat as naturally as possible, and that doesn't mean going full-blown vegan, but or it could if that's what you want, but over time, like, but yeah, but maybe eating more naturally without eating like eating artificially, and like that there's something about maybe processed foods and artificial sugars that might be good for you to avoid. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with artificial sugars, but I'm just sensing that if you have a very sensitive stomach, then artificial sugars are known for causing hyperactivity in the bowels, and maybe and creating gas, so and could cause bloating if you're, but it's more if you have a sensitivity towards artificial sugars. A lot of people can eat artificial sugars without actually having a reaction at all. But then there are some people who eat it and have an instant reaction, and so it really depends on the person. So if you have a sensitivity towards artificial sugars, maybe try to eliminate that out of your diet. But don't have a restrictive diet though. Like just take out the things that cause reactions. Maybe like if you are really into artificial sugars and can't live without it, like if you're using it in your coffee every day, then like and if you really don't want to be without it, then maybe try out different artificial sugars, because there are very big differences from the different sources of like there and from the different brands. Like it's all very like it's very different. So maybe if you find something that works for you, that doesn't create a reaction in your stomach, then use that. But maybe try to find it, because it's kind of a holy grail, and it's kind of like really finding, like if you go on that hunt, then feel free to do that, because I think if you found something that worked for you, then that's great. But if you don't find it, then yeah, maybe take that out of your diet. Also, maybe consider like eating more like more fresh food, but like there's nothing wrong with like with what I don't know, but maybe eat more vegetables, eat more naturally in some sense, like and maybe eliminate soda as well. Like I know that that's I know that that's also restrictive, and so it's going against the whole message about not being restrictive. But finding a substitute for soda could maybe be good. Like, and it's not. It has nothing to do with the calories or like or something like that. It's just more the whole soda carbonated thing that might cause a reaction to drink something that's carbonated. I don't know if that would cause a reaction, but it kind of makes sense that it might cause a negative reaction for some people if you have a sensitivity for that sort of thing. And so I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle some more cards just to get a bit more information about what what you could do to Six of Pentacles. So I feel like maybe maybe sometimes, okay, I hate going into details with this, but maybe sometimes you don't go to the toilet when you have to, because maybe you're at work or at school, or maybe you just are at home and you don't, and you kind of are in the middle of something, and you want to wait because it's not a good time or something. Or maybe you're one of those who kind of like the anticipation, and so you kind of wait it out, so just to get the there is a whole phenomenon that some people get from that anticipation of waiting to poop. And I don't really relate to this because I don't really get it. I'm not one of the people who have that, but I've heard about it, and so I know it's a thing. That some people get kind of like this sort of like feeling of like being extra productive and getting like this kind of high out of it, or I don't know. I don't know what this is. I can't really describe it because I've never experienced it, but that's at least how I've heard heard it described to me. So yeah, but if you have that, maybe consider just pooping when you have to poop instead of waiting it out. I don't know. Again, that's too much information, I know. Yeah, but that was what I got out of that card. So I'm gonna shuffle a bit more, just to get a bit more information about what you can do to heal your stomach, your abdomen, your bowels, pelvic. I'm also sensing that maybe some of you have like something with your pelvic floor, not necessarily the tilt, but just some kind of maybe weakness in the pelvic floor, and maybe you could get some exercises to help that. It could help with some of the other things that you're experiencing with the stomach cramps and stuff like that. I don't know if it could, but I feel like maybe it could. I'm also sensing that some of you might have some problems with your reproductive system. Nothing serious, but maybe maybe I'm just sensing that you might have really, really heavy flows, that your menstruation is very painful and overwhelming, and maybe there is maybe there is a way to fix that, but it could also just be one of those things that that might just that you just might have to deal with, like that there might not, like the first thing I thought of was that maybe it would help if you went on the pill, but again, like I feel like that's really bad advice, because that was what I was advised to do when I had like cramps when I was like 12 or something, like 13 or something like that. And that was like it took me like 10 years to get off of it, and it never did me any good. So I really am very anti-pill, or anti the pill, because I think messing with hormones is just never a good idea. I think I might even have more problems with my stomach due to having been on the pill for 10 years in the past. I went off it for a few years ago. So yeah, a lot of pretty many years ago. So, but yeah. And maybe you have that too. Like maybe some of the issues that you have, the stomach cramps that you have, could be because you were on the pill or are on the pill right now. So I don't know. If you are on the pill, maybe think of getting off the pill. I don't know. Yeah. With the 10 of Swords here, I don't think it's that like it. This came as like a way to heal, and so maybe a way to heal is to know that there is going to be an end to, like, and that's kind of that's really not a very good answer, but like whenever you have the cramps, just tell yourself like this is going to be over like in a few hours. Like it's not going to last like forever, even though it feels like it sometimes. But yeah, so maybe that could help, maybe, but I feel like it's not really a way to fix it. But just remain hopeful that things are gonna be better. There is also maybe a hope that some of your symptoms are gonna go away when you have children. If you don't have children already, then maybe some of these cramps could go away. Some of these stomach issues could go away if you got pregnant. I don't know. That happens for some people, but it might not happen to all people. So, but just keep that in mind. Maybe that it could become better one day. So, and sometimes it might just change out of the blue. Like that's that happens also sometimes, that people just get cured from something they've dealt with for many years, and suddenly it just goes away and nobody has an actual answer to it, why that happened. Like it's just a mystery, a medical mystery. And maybe you're going to be one of those who just have like a spontaneous cure, like what, like you're just cured from the one day to the next, like and I'm sensing that for some of you, many of you, that it is gonna be better in the future. So just hang in there and just know that it's gonna be, it's not gonna just become worse and worse and worse and worse. It's gonna be better in the future. So yeah, but I think that's all I have for you. Group number 4, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 5. You chose the Wonderland Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 5, the people who will choose group number 5? What part of their body needs healing right now? What part of group number 5's body needs healing right now? Okay, so I'm sensing a lot of anxiety, I'm sensing nerves, like that maybe the nerve, like the nerve system, or not necessarily the nerve, but just anxiety getting in the nervous system, that. But I feel like the main issue is the anxiety, and I feel like you could maybe have some stage fright and maybe some performance anxiety, feeling like you get like out of breath or shaky or like sweaty, or whenever you have to speak in front of people. And maybe you do something for a living where you have to speak in front of people, or maybe you study, and if you're in school, of course you have to sometimes speak in front of the class, and maybe that's taking a toll on you, on your body, like making you overstressed, and making you constantly experience that fight or flight reaction. And I think when that reaction is constantly being like activated, I think it might create some kind of adrenaline overload thing, where you're maybe a bit over stressed, so that you're like when your body is constantly in adrenaline overload, you end up being in a situation where you can't get your body down, like you can't ease your body and make your body relax, and it might make you very tense, and it might make your nerves very oversensitive, where maybe you can feel every inch of your body, like if something is like it might give you sensory overload in some sense, where everything kind of bothers you, like maybe also sounds, like sounds might bother you more than it bothers other people, because you're in this stress, fight or flight like when you're in this state of mind, then all your senses get really heightened, and you hear everything, and you feel everything, and it's like everything just goes like bam, like everything just gets activated at once. Like then you can start feeling how like the sock seams touch your toes, and like how your shoes touch your heels, and how how everything just like, and like how your crotch area in your jeans kind of goes against your like your privates, and like everything just that maybe everything just feels very like, I don't know, I can't really describe this, but maybe you are in kind of sensory overload, maybe because you're constantly in stress-inducing situations, maybe at work or in school, where you're constantly having to activate the stress and the adrenaline, and I don't know, but I feel like this is what's going on right now. Maybe some of you have been contemplating whether you have some neurological issue, like some disease that have to do with like the nerves, the nervous system. Like maybe you've been having hand tremors, or like you shaking of the hands and shaking of the feet and shaking like, and maybe you've been thinking like that maybe you have Parkinson's disease or something like that because you're constantly shaking. But I think there is another explanation to it, and I don't think it is a neurological disease. I don't think so. I feel like it's more the environment that you're in, the unwelcoming situations that you're in, that feels very very like strange to you, like that you're in some situations at work and or at school where you're constantly out of your comfort zone, and everything feels unfamiliar, everything feels kind of threatening. And I think when you're in that situation, you're maybe more I don't know. You might also work or study in a place where there's a lot of loud noises, and that could also cause you to be more stressed out and more anxious and more sensory in sensory overload. Could also cause some ADD or ADHD or symptoms that are kind of like ADD or ADHD. I'm not saying you have ADD or ADHD. It's just that maybe your environment is making you very distracted and very unfocused, and maybe it's causing you to constantly be aware of everything around you and of yourself, because you're constantly in this fight or flight state of mind, and that makes you hyper aware of everyone around you and yourself in this environment and your place in it, and how you're affecting other people and how they are affecting you. And it's just a whole like, yeah, but I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about what's what's going on? What part of your body needs healing? What part of your body needs healing? Okay, so 7 of Wands. I feel like you are constantly being in some kind of defense mode, where you feel like you always have to defend yourself, or kind of defend your actions, or maybe you study something where you constantly have to defend what you're doing. Like if you're studying math, then you always have to like defend your answer, like why you got to the answer that you got to and how you got there, and like you constantly have to defend it, like defend what you did, like if that makes sense. But if you study something else, it could just be that you have some kind of like maybe you have a paper that you need to defend in front of a professor or something, and maybe this paper is really taking a toll on you, and maybe you're really stressed out about defending this paper in front of this professor. Maybe the professor also makes you very nervous, and so maybe that could be the why you're feeling very anxious, and why your body is reacting to this stress that you're under. But I feel like maybe there's also some kind of family drama going on for some of you, where you constantly have to defend yourself and your actions, and maybe some people are, maybe someone in your family is constantly questioning what you do and why you do it, or maybe bringing up the past all the time, like always talking about something that happened in the past, something that happened 10 years ago or 5 years ago, or like constantly bringing up the past and making you have to defend something you did, some choice that you made or something like that. And maybe it's really taking a toll on you that you constantly have to be faced with maybe a bad decision that you made once. And of course everyone makes mistakes. Like if you made a mistake in the past, like it's maybe unfair to keep bringing it up. Like I understand that maybe sometimes the past needs to be brought up because we need to learn from the past, but I feel like you have learned from this mistake. You would never do it again. Like if that happened again, like I think, or something, I don't know, like I don't know what this is, but I feel like you have moved on from it. Like you might not have made the best decision, and you're coping with it, and it wasn't all your fault either. Like there were other people as well that were in on this, and they all riled each other up, and you were also riled up by these people. I feel like, I don't know, I know this is maybe specific for some of you and it might not resonate with all of you, but I feel like some of you have done something in the past that you're not proud of. It wasn't a good thing. Like it wasn't helping your life situation. It wasn't, maybe, I don't know what it might have been about, but I feel like you made a bad mistake or a bad decision. It wasn't necessarily a bad mistake, but a bad decision that you look back on as a mistake. And to be constantly reminded about a mistake that you've made in the past that would make anyone go crazy. Like you don't want to be reminded constantly that you made a mistake. If someone is constantly reminding you of that, then you need to shut that person up, because it's not helping you to constantly be told that you should have done things differently. That's not going to help you, because you can't go back and change the past. Like the past is in the past, and the only thing you can do is learn from it. And I feel like you have learned from it. I don't know why this person keeps bringing it up, because I think you learned your lesson. And so I don't know. If this is not about you, then it might be about someone who's close to you. Like if it wasn't your mistake, it might have been your mother's mistake or someone in your family's mistake, and maybe you're constantly being asked to defend the mistake that your mother made or your sibling made, or like someone else made, and maybe you're the one people go to and tell that, oh, that should have been done differently, or like maybe people confide in you because they feel like they are too chicken shit to actually go ask the person who actually did it why they did it, and then they ask you why they did it, but you can just defend them and tell because maybe this is someone who's close to you, and you can't do anything but defend that person. I know I'm rambling now, and some of you have. I know I've lost some of you, because some of you are just thinking like this doesn't have anything to do with me, and I get it. It's very specific, so I just wanted to get that out there. But let's move on. So. With the Wheel of Fortune reversed, I feel like with this card, I feel like one of the problems that you might be facing right now, or the thing that is causing you to have this anxiety and this sensory overload and this stress, might be because you're living a fortune or a fate that is maybe not yours. So you might have gone down a path that you have chosen because everybody else told you to, or because you feel like it's a good path, but maybe it's not your path. It might be a good path, like objectively, but subjectively, it's maybe not for you. Like, I know you're probably like you're capable, 100% capable. You're smart enough, you're talented enough, you're skilled enough, but maybe your heart is not in it. Like maybe it isn't for you in that sense. Like maybe ask yourself whether you can actually see yourself working this job or going down this career path. Like 10 years from now, can you actually picture yourself doing that job? Or are you just choosing this path because there's prestige in it, or because it's a good, well-paying job, and like it's what everybody wants to do, like that it's maybe something like if you're studying to become a doctor because you got into medicine school, or that you feel like you have to become a doctor because you were fortunate enough to have a high enough your grades were high enough to get in, and you were fortunate enough to get to get accepted into that school, and so you feel like maybe you have to just be grateful and be happy and just do it because you can. But maybe it's just not for you. Like, maybe you're living someone else's fate, and when you're living someone else's fate, you might end up feeling like an outsider, feeling like an imposter, having like imposter syndrome, where you feel like every day you're like taking the position from somebody else, or feeling like you're faking it, or that that everybody else is a student, but somehow you might see yourself as like the odd man out, or like something like that. And if you feel that way, it might be because you don't feel like you belong there. That there is, like, maybe this feeling is telling you something, that maybe you need to shift things up and actually do the thing that you're passionate about, the thing that you believe in, where you feel like you're using your talents, using your skills in a way that is very authentic and genuinely you. And maybe you're not necessarily, maybe you don't need to be in a high stress environment. Maybe you don't need to perform every day. Like, if you have performance anxiety, I know you shouldn't let that hinder you from following your dreams and all of that. But if the dream that you're following is actually not your dream, but a dream that you've integrated into your life because it was your parents' dream, or because it was like a universal dream that you felt like you had to achieve or try to achieve because it's something everybody dreams about. But that might not be the case. Like, maybe you just need to find your dream, like the dream that you have inside, that's just waiting to be unlocked. Like, maybe you always wanted to be something when you were a child or a teenager. Like, maybe you had a dream back then that you have then maybe like forgot about because you got older, and that dream started feeling more and more silly because you got older and wiser. Maybe go back and explore that dream, because maybe there was something interesting there. Like, if you always wanted to become a writer or a painter or something like that, and then maybe you felt like that wasn't very realistic when you got older, you might have felt like that was too much of a stretch, like it would never happen or something like that. But maybe it deserves a chance, because maybe that's actually your path, your fate. Maybe there is something that you have been put on this earth to do, and maybe it is not to be what everybody else wants to be, like and be a doctor like everybody else, or like a lot of people, but maybe you're supposed to, like, not that there's anything wrong with being a doctor, like, of course we need doctors, so like, of course doctors are awesome, so not that it's that's not my point. But my point is that maybe you're supposed to do something original, something that will leave a legacy, a creative legacy, something that you can actually be proud of, and also feel like you're actually unfolding and showing your true colors, or showing your true personality to people without doing it in a high stress environment, but actually doing it in an environment where you're maybe a bit more shielded from the audience. Like if you became a writer or a journalist or something like that, then you could write at home on your computer, and you wouldn't have to perform in front of an audience. I know a doctor doesn't have to do that either, but like they kind of have to do it still, sort of, like when they do the whole briefings and all of that. But I feel like there might also be some briefings in journalism, like, but I don't know. But I feel like maybe there could be a job that is better suited for you, where you wouldn't be so anxious all the time, and where you could get some positive feedback and get a better sense of belonging somewhere. Maybe also building up a following. Like if you want to do something like YouTube, or getting up or like starting a blog or something like that could build up a positive like following that would follow you and give you positive feedback, and maybe build you up, and maybe you could create like a safe space for like-minded people who have maybe experienced something similar as you have, and maybe share in that forum, share your stories, and maybe also make other people share their stories, and maybe create this forum, this safe space online, maybe. I don't know. But of course, having a YouTube channel is also very stressful, so it's not necessarily the best thing to do for someone who has anxiety. I get that, but it's still it's kind of not really it's not necessarily a stress-inducing situation where, like, I'm a very anxious person, so, and I think my anxiety translates through the camera. I think many people know that I have anxiety when they watch my videos. I think it's quite obvious, but I feel like it's actually not as obvious as it would be if I talked in front of an audience in real life, or like in front of people where they were like close to me. Then I would be sweating and shaking and having all of that, and I would be completely red in the face and all of that. So I don't get that when I record these videos. So I don't know. I kind of get that now as I talk about it, because now I know that you're aware of it, and so it kind of makes it a bit awkward. So, but yeah, but I think there are ways to express yourself and express your talents in a way where you don't have to actually be so anxious and have these. I think sometimes the body has physical reactions to the things that we're not supposed to do. Like, I think some of my performance anxiety that I had in school when I was younger, like, I think my body was just reacting to the thing that I didn't want to do, like wasn't supposed to do. It's not that I didn't want to do it. It's more that this was not what I was supposed to do. I wasn't supposed to talk in front of an audience, like in that sense, like in that way. And it also made me aware that that's not my path. I probably would be a shitty teacher teaching in front of a class, because I would be shaking and I would have like the blushing and the sweating and all of that, and I think that just wouldn't be healthy in the long run. Even though I know that you shouldn't have like a negative mindset, and that you're just limiting yourself and all of that. And I know that people would probably say that I'm limiting myself by saying that I can't become a teacher, and I get that. I still stand by that claim. I think I would be a shitty teacher because I'm extremely anxious in front of people. And I think it wouldn't be fair to me, and it wouldn't be fair to the class. And I know that this might not come across as the best advice, especially if you're actually considering becoming a teacher or actually studying to become a teacher. Then I'm saying something quite shitty right now to you specifically, and I'm sorry, because I don't want to like mess up your dreams. And like if your dream is to become a teacher, then I think you could easily become one. And there are things to do in order to help relieve stress and help relieve anxiety. And so if you are determined to become a teacher, then you could do things like taking beta blockers, not throughout the whole time that you're a teacher, but like maybe the first months that you're a teacher, take beta blockers, because then you can maybe build up a muscle memory or something that could make it easier for you to stand in front of a class without actually getting shakes and tremors. You could maybe relieve that by taking beta blockers for a short amount of time. But I feel like maybe you should do it like at first, so that the class knows you as a confident, not anxious person. And because I think we mirror what we see, what we feel like other people expect from us. And if the class expects an anxious person, we become anxious. But if the class expects a confident, not anxious person, then we're more we're probably more relaxed, and we would probably perform better if a positive expectation is there to meet. Like if we have to meet a positive expectation, or a positive expectation, then it's easier than if we would have to meet a negative expectation. Then we would have a negative reaction to accommodate that negative expectation. So taking beta blockers right at first, when you have to teach your first class, that might be a good idea to fix it. But I don't really know. I'm not a doctor. I just know that beta blockers are very helpful if you have like physical symptoms of anxiety when you're performing in front of people. But I think in the long run, it has a lot of negative effects on you, like fucking up with your memory and stuff like that. So it really isn't a very good fix. So I don't know. But there might be some other ways to relieve anxiety, like taking medication, other types of medication that can relieve anxiety. also taking what's it called? I don't know if it's rosebud or something like that. Supplements, herbal supplements of rosebud. I don't know if that is actually the. I feel like there's another word for it, but I'm just not really getting that word. So, but that could help with the anxiety and making you more relaxed. But with the Queen of Hats, with this Queen of Cups, I feel like maybe there is also a part of you that might. I feel like you would benefit from remembering that it's not necessarily a curse only. That there are also a lot of good things that come out of sensory overload and being hypersensitive and being anxious and being like that it's not only bad. It could also be a superpower if you look at it with a more positive mindset. Hypersensitivity can help you have more heightened senses, and more heightened senses are of course very good. It's good to be able to sense things more vividly or more like. I feel like creatively it's a very good thing. Hypersensitivity opens up to creativity, makes you perceive the world with more colors, and so you can express yourself with more colors on, like in a sense, like also in writing, like being better. I think by having hypersensitivity, you might be better at describing certain phenomenons, certain textures, certain colors, smells, like because you have more familiarity to it, like you have more colors to paint with. It's just heightened senses are cool. Like it's cool to have that. So who wouldn't want to have that? So it's not just a bad thing. And also being hypersensitive can also make you more emotional, and being more emotional doesn't need to be a bad thing either. Like it's good to feel your emotions, and it's also good to have a body that tells you when things are not right. Like having this physical reaction to certain things is a gift, because it tells you that you're currently in a situation that you need to get out of. And it's good to have that tell. It's good to have your body warn you about what you're doing, and that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. So thank your body for telling you that telling you these things and helping you realize what's your path and what's not your path, by making you feel certain ways, like making you feel stressed out when you're going down the wrong path, and make you feel butterflies and good feelings when you're going down the right path. And you can follow those reactions, and these reactions will lead you to your fate, to the place that you need to be. So it's not all bad. It's good. It's only bad when you are forcing yourself to be in the situation that your body is trying to get you out of. And then you need to ask yourself why you're hanging on to this thing that your body doesn't want to do, and whether it's actually worth it, or whether it's just somebody else's dream that you have chosen to make your own. And yeah, so, but now I'm repeating myself, and so, but I think that's all I have for you, group number 5. I hope this reading was somewhat helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 6. You chose this, the Cook's Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 6, the people who will choose group number 6? What part of their body needs healing right now? Okay, so I'm sensing that it's your throat and maybe also your lungs, and maybe also your urinary tract. So maybe not all at once, maybe it's not all 3 for every one of you. So maybe some of you have problems with your throat, and others of you have problems with your lungs, and others of you have problems with your urinary tract. That could be. It could also be all at once, I don't know. But I feel like it's more distributed in a more fair way, where I feel like most of you have just one of those. But yeah, I think the common denominator is that you're battling some kind of infection right now. Maybe you have the flu. I don't know. I have the flu right now, so maybe it's flu season somewhere, or maybe it's flu season here. I don't know. I don't think so, but yeah, but it could be in your timeline, like whenever you're seeing this video, it could be flu season. But I feel like there is something about this that makes me feel like it's something that keeps coming back. Like you have, like, if you have a throat infection, it might keep coming back. Like you get it and then it disappears, and then it comes back, and then it disappears, and then it comes back. And it kind of makes me think that maybe there's something in the environment that you're reacting to. So maybe for some of you it could be environmental. It could be because there's something in the air that you're allergic to, like pollen or something like that. And so maybe it's season for pollen right now, so maybe that's why your throat is closing up, or it is really infected. And I'm also sensing that maybe some of you are smokers, and if you're smokers, then maybe that could be a contributing factor to why you have infections in the throat, and maybe also in the lungs. So a way to fix that would be to stop smoking, but again, it's your choice. If you want to smoke, then do that. Like, yeah. So there could also be some second-hand smoking going on where you're maybe breathing the air of somebody else who is a smoker, and so maybe if that's the case, then maybe ask that person to go outside and smoke so that you're not constantly inhaling the smoke of that person's cigarettes or that person's weed or whatever. So yeah, there could also be something about incense. Like if you burn incense all the time, it could be irritating your throat. So maybe consider that. Like maybe consider whether there's enough benefits from the incense to outbalance the negative effects that it has on your throat. There could also be something about moisture in the air. Like maybe there's too much moisture in the air that you breathe. Like maybe if you live in a basement or something, then maybe there's more moisture in the basement than if you lived higher up or something. Or maybe if you live in a house or in an apartment where there's some kind of leakage of water running from somewhere, like from the ceiling or somewhere, then it might be creating a build-up of moisture, and that could be very unhealthy to inhale. So maybe get that fixed, or I know that's easier said than done. I know that that's a big problem. Like if there's a leakage in your house like that create that. I know it's not easy, and especially if you live in an apartment, and if you are renting an apartment, then it might be really hard to get the landlord to fix a leakage in the ceiling or something like that. So, but maybe keep that in mind. And if you're renting a place, then maybe consider moving to another rental where there's not so much moisture in the air. I'm not saying that there's necessarily black mold, and there doesn't have to be black mold in order to create a unhealthy environment, because the moisture, it's in itself, even if it hasn't it can still be harmful, even if there's no visible black mold in the apartment. So, but yeah, I feel like some of your health issues are definitely environmental. Like there's something in the air that you're breathing that is causing this. And of course, if it has to do with the urinary tract, then it could still have something to do with the moisture in the air, but it could also be like if you're living somewhere where there's always very cold, like where the floor is very cold, then maybe wear socks, because having your feet on cold tiles or cold floor, it can make the urinary tract infected. I don't know if this is science, but yeah, wear socks maybe, and like if you always have to sleep with your window open because of the house being in bad condition, if you don't open the window, like because of the moisture and maybe the fear of black mold and stuff like that, if you're always constantly opening the windows, then of course it might get like quite cold inside your apartment or your house, and that could be affecting your urinary tract. So maybe that is something to keep in mind. And of course, you could drink cranberry juice in order to prevent the urinary tract infection to happen, but it might not help it completely. Like you might still get it, but it might help prevent some of them from happening. Like if you get them frequently, like urinary tract infections frequently, then like maybe you can prevent some of them from happening. I don't know, by drinking cranberry juice, but I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say. I'm also sensing like something about stability, that you're maybe in a, like maybe your house is your sense of stability. Like having the roof over your head gives you stability and security, and it might make you less keen on moving to another house or another apartment, because you feel like the apartment or house that you have right now is very homey and makes you feel very good and makes you feel like you're finally very comfortable at home. And so maybe you don't want to change things up. Maybe you're afraid of moving because you're afraid that you can't create this type of home somewhere else. And I get that, but I feel like you can do that. Like it would still be your furniture, it would still be your decorations, and it would still feel like home, even if you moved somewhere else. And I know it's a cliche, but like the home is where the heart is, and so you can move around, and you're still gonna feel at home eventually if you just make it a home. If you make it cozy, and if you have the people around you that you love, and if everyone are thriving around you, then you are going to feel comfortable again in another setting. Like you don't have to feel like you're locked up in this place that you live in right now, that you can't wiggle yourself out of it because you're afraid of change, or you're afraid that it's going to be a change for the worse if you move somewhere else. Because if you know that your house or your apartment isn't a very healthy environment, if you know that there's something in the air, like you can tell that maybe there is some black mold that is maybe about to break out somewhere, like, but it might not have broken out yet. Like you might not have seen any black mold, but maybe you have a suspicion that there is some black mold somewhere hidden behind the walls somewhere. And like, if you have that suspicion, maybe get it checked out, and maybe get one of those monitors that checks the moisture in the air, and see if the moisture levels in the air are too high. Because if they are too high, then there is a big risk for black mold to grow somewhere. And if that is the case, then maybe consider moving, because it might not be worth it, even though it's creating a stable environment where you feel like you're secure and you're at home and you feel comfortable. But if it's slowly eating at your health, then it might not be worth it. So yeah, but I'm also sensing that for some of you, you could be in a relationship that might feel very stable and very secure, and it might feel like everything is going very well. And I'm not going to try to scratch at the surface of this, because if things seem well and if things are going well and it's all very good, then I don't want you to start looking for flaws or looking for something bad in your relationship, because I don't necessarily think it's that problematic, but there might be some things that can't be fixed, like things that are easy to fix but aren't being verbalized, like some issues that aren't being communicated correctly, or not correctly. That's the wrong word to use, but maybe you're not communicating enough. Maybe a lot of things would run more smoothly if you actually talked more about the things that are on your mind. And yeah, I don't know. So with the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like maybe some of your problems is also that you're working too much, and that you're maybe the stress from your job is causing you to be more stressed out, and the stress might make you more open to infections, because it's maybe causing your body to react, and so maybe there's some reaction to stress that you might not feel like you're stressed out, but if you're constantly getting sick, and if it doesn't have anything to do with your environment, or the moisture in the air, or the black mold, or the smoking, or if it doesn't have anything to do with that, then I feel like it could be stress. It could be stress related, and maybe you need to find a way to relieve that stress. Maybe if you have two jobs, or if you're working two jobs, and maybe you're doing if you're doing a lot, then maybe think about trying to cut down on hours that you work, if that's possible. If it's not possible, then try to maybe if you're a perfectionist and you always want to perform perfectly at work, then try maybe to be a bit more sloppy at your work. Don't expect perfection every day you go to work. Like, and especially if you're working 2 jobs. Like, if you have one job that's your primary job, like the job that you know is gonna, if you have a job that you see a future in, that is down your career path, you can see how you're climbing up the ladder, you can see how this job is actually leading to somewhere, and you want to perform perfectly because you want your boss to give you a promotion, and you want to go down that career path. Like, if you have a job that's like that, and then you might have a job on the side that's just kind of like something that isn't that important to you, like kind of a dead end, something that you just do because you need the money. Maybe don't expect yourself to excel at that job, because that job might just not be that important, and it might be okay to do a sloppy work at that job, not performing 100% every day. Like, that's not necessary, because it is a dead end. So there's no need for you to go to work and do everything like ambitiously as you do in your primary job, or the job that is going to lead you somewhere, and where you see a future. So maybe prioritize your time, focus on the things that you see yourself doing in the future, the things that you see has a purpose in the future, and for your future. And so, yeah. Because, like, it isn't worth it for you to let your perfectionism ruin your health. Like, if you're getting so stressed out to always want to do everything right and everything correct and everything perfect, then you are gonna get more infections, and you're gonna be more prone to getting infections because of your stress levels being so high. So, yeah. I'm going to shuffle some more cards. There's also, like, with this 8 of Pentacles, this is someone who's baking a lot of pies. And I feel like some of you might be mothers. I don't think it's all of you, but maybe some of you have a child, and maybe you want to be the perfect mother. Like, you want to be the mother who makes all the meals from scratch, who bakes and cooks and does everything by the book, and only uses like healthy foods and only uses like all the natural things, and no what's it called, processed foods, and like all of that. And I know this only resonates with some of you, but maybe processed food isn't necessarily the worst thing that you can feed your children. it's better than not feeding your children at all, and it's better than going down with stress. Like your children would rather have a not stressed out parent than a stressed out parent. And if cooking and baking and all of that, if that is stressing you out and making you making you more sick because you feel like you have to do this, because you're maybe afraid of processed food, and so maybe you want to bake your own bread and you don't want to buy it in the store because you don't know what they put into it and stuff like that. It might be too much. Like it might like sometimes it's good to choose the easy way out if it makes you feel less stressed. Because stress is really stress is it's a big deal. Like it you can lose your vision. You can it's very a lot of things can happen if you experience really high levels of stress, and it can be really scary, and so I'm not saying that to scare you, but maybe try really hard to get your stress levels down, because stress is a real disease. It's not just made up. Like some people believe that it's just a made up disease, but like it is really, really real, and it can cause some really, really, really scary symptoms, and like it's But with the Six of Swords, I feel like it could be good for you to take a break and maybe change your environment. Maybe, like especially if you have a suspicion that maybe your house is a bit unhealthy, then maybe take a vacation somewhere else for maybe 2 weeks. I know that's a long time, especially if you have 2 jobs and can't get vacation. Then yeah, I know that. But if you can get 2 weeks of vacation from your job, then maybe try it out. Like try to go somewhere and see if your symptoms, if they go away. Like if the cough that you have, maybe you have a chronic cough, if that goes away in the 2 weeks that you leave your house, then maybe that is a sign that the house is maybe not very very healthy to live in. So and also maybe go outside more. That could also be like a quick fix to. I know it's not really a fix, but this woman is going outdoors with her child, and so like maybe go out more, go out in the air, like outside, go to the beach, go somewhere where there's really fresh air, like the beach, and of course there's moisture at the beach, but go out, go. Maybe, like I know you might not have all the time in the world, so maybe going to the beach every weekend is maybe not an option for you, but maybe try to go to the beach, or go somewhere, go to the forest, or go somewhere, somewhere like a small daily vacation from home. I know daily is maybe a bit of a stretch, but every other day or every third day or something like that, you could go out somewhere. If you don't have children on your own, you could borrow some. Maybe if you have some nieces or nephews, you could take them out to the beach. Yeah. And with the Ace of Cups reversed, I feel like there could be some problems with your, like if you're in a relationship, as I said before, there might be some underlying issues that are not being communicated properly, and maybe it would be good to sit down and talk to your partner about maybe some of the needs that you're not getting fulfilled, like the things that you feel like you're lacking in your relationship with that person. And I think I feel like you're in a relationship with someone who is very good for you, but this person might need some direction, because this person might be a bit clueless sometimes. Like they don't always know what to say or what to do, and they might have a hard time showing affection or validating you, or like it might just be something they need to be taught how to do, because it might not have been something they learned to do from their childhood. Maybe they come from a childhood where they didn't have the best role models. Like they might not have led them by example. Like it might have been a bit of a chaotic childhood that this person had, and I think a lot of things just didn't really like a lot of things that usually get learned in the childhood probably weren't this person's parents' first priority. Like this person's parents learned this person a lot of other things, but there might be some things that this person just hasn't been taught, and that might be to verbalize feelings, and maybe also verbalize issues within the relationship, and maybe talk and communicate and and have a conversation about the hard things. I don't know, but there might be some things that this person just has a really hard time doing, and it might be because this person is also the Emperor. Like this person is maybe not really in touch with his or her emotions. They don't know how to express their love, because it's like there's like they can't, they don't really know how to explain it or express it or give it. It might just be really hard for this person to talk about feelings, and maybe you need to sit this person down and tell this person that now is the time to talk about the hard things in this relationship and find a solution to them. And that's just how it's going to be. And this person just has to deal with it. And I think if you verbalized it that way, I think this person would be very cooperative. I think this person would try to accommodate some of your needs and some of your wishes, especially if you give them directions. I know it feels like you shouldn't be giving your partner directions to how to talk to you and how to but sometimes people kind of need that pointer, like pointing them in the right direction, showing them some tools or showing them some ways to figure it out. I don't know. But that's for those of you who are in a relationship. So I know it might not resonate with all of you, but that was just something for some of you. So, but let's move on. So Four of Wands reversed. I feel like there is something about this home being a bit broken. I don't know what is making your foundation a bit broken, like the home a bit broken. It could be the environment being a bit toxic, or like physically toxic. Could also be that that it's a symbol for the relationship that you're in, or the family that you're in, or something that just isn't working very well right now. But I feel like there is hope for this. I feel like if it's your partner, this partner can be fixed. If it's your family, I feel like your family can be fixed, but that's maybe a longer process, and you're gonna have to ask yourself, like, especially if it's not your nuclear family, but like aunts and uncles or grandparents or even parents and siblings and stuff like that. If that's what's eating you up or making you stressed out because these people are demanding something from you that you don't have the energy for because you're working 2 jobs and you have maybe children of your own, and you don't need need the stress of also taking care of your parents or your grandparents or like something like that. If that's the case, then I feel like there is maybe a solution, and that solution could be to just leave that to somebody else. Like if you have other siblings, maybe ask your siblings to take care of your parents if that's the case, or if it's your grandparents, like maybe ask someone else in the family to take care of that person, so you're not just the only one doing it. But or just leave, like move away, like move far away, so that it's not so convenient for them to always ask you. Like I know that's a bit drastic, but maybe it would be worth it to move across the country so that nobody will bother you anymore. But I don't know. I don't know. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 6. I hope this reading was helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 7. You chose this Waite Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 7? The people who will choose group number 7. What part of their body needs healing right now? What part of their body needs healing right now? Okay, so I'm sensing that for some of you, it might be your eyes. Maybe, like if you wear glasses, then maybe you need a new prescription, because maybe it's not really working out for you anymore. Like maybe your vision has changed, and so maybe that is causing you to have more tension, headaches, and stuff like that, especially when you read. And maybe it's causing you to read very slowly. And so maybe get that checked out. And if you don't have glasses, then maybe now is the time to get glasses, because I think it would help you a lot, especially while doing like everyday assignments, like tasks. Like it's very good to have a clear vision, and yeah. I'm also sensing something about because like I don't think you can see it, but there's like a lamp right in the in the ceiling, and it's like it's really what's it called, like it's giving those flashes, like it's blinking. It's blinking, and I feel like maybe some of you have some something with like epilepsy, some issue with epilepsy, or but I don't think it's all of you. But if you have epilepsy, I feel like that could be something that could be healed further. Like I think maybe you are on medication for it right now, and so maybe there is no, maybe you feel like there's no need for more treatment, because it's maybe at check right now, like it's not flaring up right now, but I think I think there could be something else that you could try, and I'm getting something about mushrooms, but I don't think it's for all of you, but it was just something that came through. Some kind of treatment with mushrooms. I feel like that's maybe not like a certified treatment. I don't know if it's something you can get from your doctor. I doubt it, because doctors usually don't like that sort of alternative medicine. But there might be something like that you could try. But maybe you have already tried it, so I don't know. But I feel like you're a very strong person, and I feel like I feel like for those of you who have either a vision impairment or epilepsy, I think besides those things, like if you have either of those things, I feel like physically you're strong. I feel like your body is actually very healthy. So I don't feel like you need anything, like I don't feel like you necessarily have a vitamin deficiency, or maybe you do have one, but it's not like, I feel like mostly you're at very good health. I feel like your body is really in a very good place, health-wise. Maybe you're even more healthy than you've ever been, or something like that. I feel like you're actually taking care of yourself more than you used to, and I feel like that's very good. And I feel like your muscle health is very good, and so that's something to pat yourself on the back for. Like it seems like you're actually doing the maximum in order to be healthy, and of course maybe you feel like if it's not epilepsy, then like if it is just your vision that needs to be checked out, like that is a small thing. But I feel like maybe some of you don't want to wear glasses, and that's maybe a bit silly. I kind of get it, because I wear glasses usually. I don't wear glasses when I do videos because of because it's not very pretty. I guess I am that superficial, I guess. Like when it comes to that sort of thing, it's mostly because it creates like a very annoying thing. Like when you have glasses on and you have a ring light, you can't really see the eyes, because there's like a ring that's like so using glasses when doing videos is not an option. It's really hard to do, especially if you have a ring light. So if you're a content creator and you have that problem, maybe consider just wearing your glasses, because maybe it's creating like a problem for you, like health-wise. I feel like you're very healthy, but maybe if you do, like if you're a content creator and you work maybe 7 hours a day in front of the camera, and you're not wearing your glasses that you usually wear all the time when you're not recording videos, then of course you're gonna get more migraines, you're gonna get more tension headaches, you're gonna get gonna get tired more easily, you're gonna feel more fatigue, and you're gonna feel more mentally drained when you do that, because you're focusing so much of your energy on just seeing things clearly. So I feel like if that's the case for you, maybe consider just wearing your glasses, even though it creates that annoying ring effect. If it's really hard for you to, like, if you're having symptoms because of it, then maybe that is maybe there is a quick way to fix it. So maybe just wear your glasses. I don't know, but and if you don't have glasses, maybe get glasses. And I don't know why this comes in, because I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm getting some kind of message that if you have epilepsy and you don't have a vision impairment, maybe consider wearing glasses anyways. Maybe with blue light filter, because maybe wearing glasses without any what's it called, without being actual glasses, like wearing those fake glasses just with blue light filter, that could maybe, I don't know if that could help anything, but maybe it could make it make it less frequent to have an epilepsy attack. It could also help to like have the blue light filter on your phone, like activate that blue light filter. And if you have an iPhone, then you can just change the colors to warm colors instead of cold colors, so that you get the warm colors instead of the blue and cold colors, because the blue colors can, of course, create more fatigue and more migraines and make you maybe also, I don't know if this is scientifically correct, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but maybe it could make it less, maybe it could help with epilepsy, I don't know, but maybe think about the blue light filter and maybe think about it. I knew a person who had lupus, and I know it's not the same thing at all, but she had the blue light filter glasses and also blue light filter on her phone, so and she used it because of her lupus. I don't know, of course epilepsy is something very different, so but you could maybe just try to see if it makes you feel better. So with the Eight of Cups reversed, I feel like maybe some of you need to get into high altitudes more, which is a bit weird. Like if you were born with high altitude, like if you were born like in the mountains, or if you lived your whole life or whole childhood up in the mountains or up on a hill, a big hill or something like that, and you've recently moved down very low, like a very low altitude or something, then maybe it would be good for you to get back in the high altitude. Maybe it would be good for your ears or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you would get less I don't know, what's it called? Pressure, less pressure in the air, in the ears. But there's maybe something about pressure in the air too, like something about the air pressure. Somehow affecting your health. I don't know what this is about, but maybe consider hiking up in the mountains more, just to get that pressure, that air pressure, that high altitude something. I don't know. I feel like you're a very outdoorsy person. Maybe you have recently become more homey and more cozy, and you want to just be at home and watch some Netflix and just be cozy around the house, and that's okay. But maybe you would feel better if you did more outdoorsy activities, if you got kind of back to your roots. Maybe you used to be very sporty or very into hiking or maybe you were like a horseback rider when you were younger, and maybe it would be good for you to get back to that. Like if that was something that gave you a lot of like self-confidence and made you feel very good about yourself, but also made you feel very happy, and made you feel like you were like in sync with the animal and in sync with nature, then maybe try to get back to that. Get back to the countryside. Get back to feeling more in tune with nature, or something like that. But I don't think that would necessarily heal your body, but or your vision or your epilepsy or anything. But it might make you feel good. It might give you more dopamine to kind of get back to what you used to be passionate about, and those dopamine levels could, like raised dopamine levels, could maybe have good effects on your overall health, and maybe help you relieve some of the stress that you're under, like getting kind of in a situation where you're like where you get the best of both worlds. Like maybe you live in the city right now, but maybe moving, maybe you feel like moving to the countryside would be too drastic of a decision. Like it might make you feel a bit trapped, like you can't live your dreams because maybe you want to do something that you can only do in the city. Like maybe you're studying, and maybe the thing that you're studying right now only exists in larger cities. So you have to live in a large city in order to study whatever you want to study. If that's the case, then of course you have to stay there. Or if you have your business in a bigger city, like then of course that could like I can see why it would be a problem to move, because you have your business and you're starting to build it up and it's successful, I think. And so why leave a good thing just to move to the countryside where there's less opportunities and less customers and all of that? I get it. But I feel like there's maybe also something about living in the big city that might be a bit problematic for you. Maybe with your epilepsy, like there's a lot of lights, a lot of flickering lights. That was the word I was looking for, flickering lights. Yeah. There might be too much going on, like too much noise, too many sensory, like too much sensory overload in a big city. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of people. And if you have epilepsy, then it might be too much, and maybe the countryside would be easier to handle. There's not as many lights, not as many people. It's less noisy. But of course, a lot of cool things happen in the city as well. So you win some and you lose some. So I get the dilemma. There's a big dilemma here. But I feel like for those of you who live in the city, I feel like this card is kind of telling you that maybe going back to your roots. If you come from the countryside and have recently moved to the city, maybe go back, because I know it, but just consider it, because maybe the big city is just too overwhelming. But I know that's very specific for some of you, so it's not for all of you. For those of you where this doesn't resonate, I just feel like maybe the countryside is more suited for you than the city. Even if you don't come from the countryside, even if you were raised in the big city, then I just feel like maybe it would be something to consider, to move to the countryside, have a farm somewhere, or like I don't know. It's have some horses. I know it's very expensive. It's not for everyone, but maybe get back to some, or get out of the stress of the city. I don't know. Also, like there might be something about like living in an apartment. Like if you live in like a very big apartment and you're surrounded by big apartments, you might not get as much sunlight as you would if you lived in a house on the countryside, of course, because like your window might be facing another apartment building and it might be blocking the sun, and so maybe you're not getting enough sun. Maybe it's kind of like a bit dim and dark where you live, and maybe vitamin D could, like maybe you didn't have a deficiency of D vitamin or vitamin D before you moved to the city, but maybe you have developed it after you moved to the city because of that, because the buildings are blocking the sunlight or something like that. I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about how to heal your health and your body, and yeah. Okay, so with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, I feel like maybe some of you are working really hard, and maybe you're very ambitious, and you want to achieve a lot. Like maybe you have a very high goal. Maybe you want to make a lot of money, and maybe you're building a business and you want that business to be successful and be kind of like a money cow that just keeps like providing you with money even after you like something that can run itself, like something that, and maybe you're really trying to achieve this, finding that like really making it your golden egg, like really, and maybe this, I feel like it's very like it's very promising the thing that you're doing. But you also have to remember to think about yourself and remember that your health comes first. So I know that you're building something up that, like, you might have this idea in your mind that you're doing this for a greater cause, and that greater cause could be your bloodline. Like, you want to create something that can not only make money for you, but can also make money for all the generations to come. Like your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. They could. I think you want to do something that can benefit all of them financially, and make so that all of your grandchildren and great-grandchildren can get an education, and that you can pay for it with the money that you're hoping to get from this business, or this business endeavor that you're thinking of, or that you have already created. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it is something big, or it's about to become big. And I think I think it makes sense. Like, I feel like it's good what you're doing, and I like how you maintain this big picture, that you're constantly thinking about, the generations to come, and like seeing it from such a big perspective is really, really impressive. And like, everybody wants to create that family business, like that thing that can that you can pass on to generations to come. Like, it's beautiful, but yet I feel like it's also wearing you out. It's making you very stressed out. But I feel like you're also very strong. So maybe you can take it. Maybe it's not too much. And maybe, like, when you're old, you can retire and you can have a farm on the countryside and live a quiet life and have that also. Like, but maybe right now you're just supposed to kind of sacrifice your health for the greater good of the generations to come. And maybe it's okay to not be like, I feel like you're strong enough to do this. I know that, like, if you have epilepsy, it's really scary, and it's something that you should really consider and I think you're already considering it all the time, every day. Like, you're never not considering it. So of course, it's a big factor of your life. It's a part of you, and it's scary as fuck. But you're really strong, and you will find a way to live with it, even with relapses. You're gonna see it through, and I feel like I feel like you're just really a skillful person. You're very talented. You're doing something great, and I think you should just keep doing it, actually. Even though it might not be the best thing to do for your health, but you are a strong person, and I think you also know your limits. And even if other people tell you that you're crossing those limits, you should feel it for yourself and feel what feels right for you. if it feels right for you to just keep going and bulldozing through and just hanging in there and getting the job done, then do that. If it doesn't feel like you're impairing your health for it, then do it. And with the Fool reversed, you're not a fool. You're a smart person, and you're not just smart, like intelligently smart. I think you have some kind of a body IQ. Like I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not sure. Like I know there's like the emotional intelligence and the social intelligence and all of that, but I don't know if there's a body intelligence. But I think there probably is one, and I think you are very body intelligent. I think I don't really know what that means right now, because I don't like it's just coming up. It's just popping up in my brain right now, so it's not something I'm familiar with. But I would think it's something about understanding your body and understanding your limit, and maybe also having very good wisdom when it comes to your body and other people's body as well. Maybe I think you're smart that way. Like and you're also smart mentally, emotionally. But there's something about body intelligence. But maybe look it up if it's a phenomenon. If it's something, then look it up. Maybe there's some interesting articles about it. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah. But maybe you should trust your body more and trust that you know what's best for your body, and don't necessarily always listen to the doctors or your family or whatever, whoever is advising you. Maybe listen more to yourself and what your body is telling you. So yeah. But I think, I feel like when it comes to your health, I feel like your health is actually really good right now. Even though there might be some circumstances around you that might be stressing you, I feel like despite that, and even with that as a factor in your life, I still feel like your health is very good compared to like other people. I feel like you're very good at taking care of your body. You're very good at listening to your body. You're very good at doing the things that your body craves you to do, like listening to the signals, listening to the signs, and so I feel like you have a very good connection there. So you shouldn't be worried about what's going on in your body. I feel like you're at a better health now than you were 5 years ago, or something like that. So I think that's all I have for you, group number 7. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye.